Good morning.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Welcome to another episode of
An honest conversation.
whatever time it is you're catching this. We're glad you're with us. We got Mark Lambert to my left and
Tyler Ingram.
to your right. Well, actually, if they're watching this,
I don't know if it's reversed or not.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm looking. Gosh, right, let's do it again.
No. You're to the left. I'm to the right.
Let's do it again.
No.
All right. We'll roll with it. I mean,
it's all good.
It is what it is. Hey, man.
I've already edited this like 15 times.
Happy Holy Week.
Absolutely.
It is the time of the year.
I like your terminology.
Yeah, it is. It's it's a time to
remember,
be joyous, and have remembrance of what Jesus did and went through this week. Because I'll tell you, I've had a pretty rotten week. Last couple of weeks have been pretty rough. In retrospect, what Jesus went through, they're nothing. But to me, they are quite a bit. But we are excited to be here tonight and to bring you another podcast, another episode of An Honest Conversation. And man, we've been kind of talking about the week that has been. Sunday we talked about the triumphal entry, and that always kind of sour to me. Preach that because it starts off so well, and really it ends well.
It does.
But by human standards, or as we're going through in our Sunday school class, the lower story, it does not end well. But in the upper story, which is God's story, it ends
just the way
it's supposed to. And I said this, last week. You probably had a rough week. Most people probably have had, up or down, but been good or bad. But you've encountered difficulties. You've had things not go your way. And when we look at what Jesus went through during this week, Jesus should have been accepted, and he should have been the triumphal entry. Should have been the ending, right? It should have been all right. Our Savior's here, and we're pretty excited about it. But that's not what happened.
Nope, he had a better plan for.
And God's plan is always it's good. It's always good. It's the best plan. But
sometimes it kind of blindsides you out of like left field.
Do we think that we could do better?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I could have done better. I would have started off slow.
God should have asked us before, doing things. He could have took notes.
I could have started out slow, like maybe Jesus comes in on the donkey and they're like, hey, who's this guy? And then by the end of it, it's like, it's Jesus. But instead, it starts out.
A donkey. Only God would use a donkey. I mean, in our minds, he would have been riding in on an Arabian horse.
Yeah, I agree. War horse, at least, and kings rode horses, not donkeys.
That's right.
And David rode a horse. But man, it's really humbling. And I may seem like I'm pausing a lot. I'm just trying to be careful with what I say and how I say it tonight. But I don't know how you feel about this week. This may be nothing more to you than the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
It really may. But man, I don't know. Like the last couple of nights, I've just been up, been up 3 o'clock. Not because I want to be, by the way. I just have been. And during those times, it was like, well, maybe God's wanting. It really hasn't been that way. It's been more torturous than good. Those are opportunities at 3 a.m. And I really do feel like those are 3 to 5, man. the darkest of night, because that's when all your thoughts and your doubts and your stuff comes in. Like, it's like, hey, you sure? You sure? I don't know. Maybe you're wrong. Are you sure that you're sure about who Jesus is? Are you sure you're sure about you? And man, like, that would be a great time to doubt, to be like, oh, well, maybe.
Could you imagine if we got together at that time when we were both doubting and did a podcast?
It may be now. I don't know. So, but like, I think that as we go into this tonight, we just want to kind of talk about, because at this point, really, no New Testament has been written. I mean, it really, at this point, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John don't exist.
That's right.
So, 400 years of absolute silence for Malachi. And then Jesus shows up and he's like, hey, I'm different. And not that he's different in a way where it's like, hey, I'm not what the Bible talks about. Like, matter of fact, and this is the thing, and I don't claim to be the smartest person in the world, Mark, and you already know that. But like, Jesus checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
And if I talk to like an Orthodox Jewish person, maybe they could sway me one way or another. But I mean, he literally checks all the boxes.
Yeah.
He was born where he was supposed to be born. He does what he's supposed to do. All those things, and like, but he wasn't the Messiah that the Jewish people were looking for. They were looking for a leader in the form of the revolt against Rome. And a lot of you are looking for Jesus to fix your situation. That would be nice. I welcome Jesus to fix my situation. That would be great. But that's not who Jesus said he was. And really, I mean, it never really says, like, it does talk about Jesus, like, conquering his enemies, but it's pretty obvious that it's, and I say that with all compassion, because it really is Jesus saying that after the fact. Like, fixing everything is kind of the end deal.
Well, he fixes our situation, but he doesn't fix our situation in the way that we think he should fix
Right.
our immediate situation. He fixes our human situation.
Yeah.
But I think oftentimes we're too busy worrying about the right now than seeing things the way God sees things.
Let's just
and looking down the line.
Let's just kind of go through some. It is Holy Week, and it is coming up on Easter.
So, just to tell the audience, one of the things that we wanted to do tonight is point out how the Old Testament points to Jesus. There's so many places, and a lot of these I've only read recently. How the Old Testament, God didn't just decide, well, you know what, this isn't working out. Let's try Jesus. Jesus has been the plan since the beginning.
Yeah. So, in Exodus 12, verse 7, which, if you want to read that, you can.
I can pull it
I
up.
would love to elaborate on it.
Exodus 12, verse 7. All right. So just to give a little bit of context, this is during the plagues. This is the last plague. Pharaoh has refused to let the Israelites go. So God has told Moses that he's going to send the angel of death over and kill the firstborn son, I believe, of everybody, not just the Egyptians, everybody. And he tells Moses I'm just going to read it. It says, and they shall take some of the blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel of the houses where they eat. Um, so what it was talking about, they were to take an unblemished lamb
Mm-hmm.
and slaughter it in a particular way, and paint the vertical and horizontal, the doorposts, with the blood of the lamb. And when the angel of death saw that, he would pass over the house and they would be safe.
Mm-hmm. So what we have here is the first, well, not the first, but one of the first ish, if you will, of how Jesus saves. So what did they do? What did the excuse me, what did the Israelites do?
First thing they had to do was find a
Spotless lamb,
spotless, unblemished lamb.
and they had to slaughter it. And then they simply smear the blood over the lintel, the doorpost of the house here, and they'd be saved. They didn't have to do anything else. They didn't they didn't have to get right. They didn't have to quit drugs. They didn't have to, all the things that. And this is where, if you followed us for any time, you probably figured this out by now. This is not a shocker to you, but this is what the gospel is about. The gospel is about something you and I can't do, and it's something God can do. And he says, smear the blood over the doorpost of the house. And when you do that, the angel of death will see it and it will pass over you. Hence the Passover, which is what this is Holy Week. So Holy Week is about the Passover.
I really
It's really
wish that
about this.
it's Passover week. I mean, whether you're talking about the Old
What
Testament,
do you mean Passover, Mark? What did God pass over?
the angel of death passed over the Israelite homes where he saw the blood.
Exactly.
And that's what God is doing in our lives with Jesus.
Tell me about it.
He sees the
Preach
blood.
on, brother. Preach on.
He doesn't see our sin. He sees
He could.
Jesus's blood.
He could choose to do that, but he don't. And so you have this moment, which is wow. I mean, I'm just, just thinking about it right now. I'm just like,
It's
so
probably
many of you.
it's one of the most moving images
It should be,
in the
because
Old
here's the
Testament.
thing: so many of you and me, and even Mark over there, lay awake at night at 3 a.m. and you say, "Have I done enough to go to heaven?"
Yeah.
It's the question that bothers me and keeps me up more than. And here's the thing: we literally do a podcast on this every other week about how it's all Jesus, it ain't us. And then at the same time, I'm like, have I done enough? Yeah, I've excused my nasal passages; they're killing me. But it's pollen, South Alabama. What do you do? And as I'm laying there, I'm thinking, have I done enough? And I go to the old Alistair Begg, thing. I love it. I love
I
it, man.
love
I
it.
watch it every time I see it. I watch it every time. And people can, they spiritualize it and they can say, well, have you done enough? What can you or I either want? If we answer that question in the first person, because we've immediately left the cross. We've
Yeah.
immediately gone wrong, as he says. We um we start to, well, because I preached, or because I had faith, or because I did this. And it's not that you don't have faith, and it's not that you didn't do these things. It's not because you didn't witness to somebody. But the reason you did all those things is because the Lamb of God, the perfect Lamb of God, let me say that, the perfect Lamb of God was slaughtered on mine and your behalf. And in Exodus 12, we get the picture of, hey, it ain't about me. The angel of death didn't say, well, let's see, Mark and Britta's in there. So, well, we know they go to church. So we're not going to do that. We're going to let that go. No. It said, because when the angel of death sees the blood, not any blood, not some blood, not your neighbor's, the perfect Lamb of God slain, I will pass over. And see, this is the starting point when Paul talks about, or whoever wrote the book of Hebrews. Everybody thinks Paul wrote it, but nobody really knows. I've never heard anybody say, "Hey, we." But a lot of people think Paul wrote the book of Hebrews because Paul said himself, or maybe I'm miss saying this, but Paul said I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. Okay, and he says, you know, he's a Hebrew of Hebrews, but yet and still, he said, if anybody has any reason to be puffed up
Mm.
and prideful, it's me. I've done all these things. I'm a Hebrew of Hebrews. I've done this. I've done that. And he said, none of that matters. So this blood that's smeared over the doorpost is a foreshadowing or a shadowing, if you will, of Christ. And what happens during, it's Thursday night. We're recording this on Thursday night. You probably won't see this at earliest till what, Saturday?
I'm gonna try to get it out so that it's up Saturday morning.
Well, either way. So Saturday morning, but this is being recorded on Thursday night. Think about what was going on with Jesus, the perfect Lamb of God, done nothing wrong, yet he will lay himself out there for me, for you. And when you and I get to that point in our life where it's over, and who knows when that's going to be, maybe I'm 43, just turned 43, and could be 10 years, could be 20, could be 30, could be a year. Don't know. And that point comes and your life's over. Your life on this earth is over. What Jesus did and what you believed about that will count.
That's the only thing that'll count.
And when I stand before God, it's not going to be like, well, God, I don't know if you know it or not. I did a podcast in your name. I preached 1,000 sermons in your name. I did all these things. None of that matters. It's not that it hasn't been helpful, because I believe that people have come to know Jesus because of that. But because I know Jesus and because I have been changed and because you have been changed and because you have been changed, thousands of other people's lives will be changed. And, you know, he saw the blood and he passed over. So when we stand before God, it's not about what we did, it's about what God did. It's about where we stand in the middle of all that. It's kind of like when Pontius Pilate asked Jesus, says, what is truth? I've always been enamored with that verse. What is truth? Because Jesus says, I am the truth. What is truth? I wish I was smart enough to articulate it in a way where our audience or whoever would hear this and say, oh man, that's so deep. And it is so deep. But he did it for us. And are you willing to accept that or you're not? That's what it comes down to. You're willing to put that on your doorpost of your heart. And hey, this is what I'm going to heaven on. I'm going to heaven on the fact that Jesus did what he said he would do, and God, it was not a backup plan, as Mark alluded to earlier. It wasn't like, man, this ain't working. God knew it wasn't working. It ain't working. And now you're like, oh well, I got Jesus, so now I'm gonna be really good. Well, you're a lie. You're still fallen. You're not a sinner anymore, because here's the deal. So I think this is great. We kind of usher in this whole what did the doorpost mean? Um, when the angel of death showed up at their house, they're like, "Hey, look, we're Hebrews." Hey, no,
Oh,
no.
because it didn't
Man,
matter.
here it is. Here's the blood, and there was no questions asked.
So to point to just to
Go
touch
ahead.
on that,
Shoot it.
had there been an Egyptian family
Mm-hmm.
who did
Mm-hmm.
what God told them to do,
Right.
the angel would have passed over them too. And some historical research in the history and everything, there probably were friends, associates
There
of
might have been
the
some Hebrews that night
right.
that
It
died.
wasn't just Hebrews.
Mm.
I mean, it's very possible that there were Egyptians who were close enough to those Israelite families that they may have done the same thing.
Yeah. So I can get back to my notes here.
That's fine. But yeah, the so you getting back to the doorpost and the lintel. You know, our Baptists very rarely make the sign of the cross, but
Don't bring us into this.
if you think about that, they took the blood and they painted it on the horizontal doorpost and the vertical, up and down, left and right.
Mm.
Jesus's blood was painted on a cross in similar fashion for us.
Right. Well, and and then we can move to Numbers. So as we're kind of stepping down through
The,
this,
the serpent.
the serpent. This is the craziest. This is so stupid.
This is one of my
This is the
favorite
yeah
to point out how easy it is.
yeah.
Not
So
not easy for Jesus, but easy for us.
easy for us. So this is just dumb from a human standpoint. Like, are you kidding me? So, like, I don't know how much you know about the Bible, but in Numbers, when they were going through the wilderness, they were like, "Hey, a lot of people are getting bit by these poisonous snakes, and they're dying."
Hmm.
And they go to Moses about it. Bless Moses. Anyway, and they're like, so they're like, "Hey,
He
man."
put up with a lot.
So, man, dude, hey, Numbers 11 is my favorite scripture. You know why? As a pastor, because it's like, hey, Moses tells God, if you're going to leave me with these people and you're not going to help me, just kill me now. Like, shoot me. Like, he didn't say it like that, but like just shoot me in the face. Like, that's what I mean, he basically like, hey, did I beget all these people? Where did they nurse from my bosom? I mean, he literally goes through the
He
whole
had
thing.
had it.
He's just like, dude, God help me out.
Are you saying that sometimes pastors they've had it?
Oh, they've had it. They've had it. And the ones that said they hadn't, they either ain't done it long enough or they're liars. I don't know which one. But so Moses starts. God tells Moses, he's like, hey, take this brass and basically make a serpent out of it and hang it on a pole. So stupid. Not God, you're not stupid. I don't mean that. I just mean from a human standpoint, because we are talking about tonight, we're talking about trying to get there from human standards.
Yeah.
And hey man, hang it on a pole and tell them anybody who looks upon the serpent on the pole will be healed. Well, that's just dumb. Like, are you serious? Like, did you not come up with something better? And I think God's like, it's like God's also like, hey, do what I tell you to. It's going to work. But you can do what you want to do, which many are trying to go that wide road. Like Jesus said, hey, the narrow road is, man, it's hard. And the reason it's hard is because so many people want to go their own way. Like, hey, let's get there my way. I'm going to show you, God, how good I am. Well, by the way, you're not good. Please stop trying to do that because you're not going to make it that way. You're not going to get there because you put money in the plate. Even if you put $1,000 in the plate last week, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there because you were at Sunday school last week. Although that's fine and good. You're not going to get there because of whatever you think you're going to get there. And like, it seems like to me that the snake on the pole, like, surely, Mark, I have to do something to earn this.
Yeah.
Like, I need to say at least 5 Hail Marys, or I need to pray. And it ain't just Hail Marys. I'm not just picking on our Catholic friends. I'm saying, like, hey, we gotta do something here
Yeah.
because God has done so much for us. How many times have you heard that being said, or how many times have you said that? Like, well, God's done so much for me, so I got to pay him back.
And we've got to help God out.
When's the last time you tried to pay your parents back? Did you pay them back for that first car you got? Did you pay them back? And I mean, I know everybody didn't have great parents, and I get it. There's all these stories out there, but man, this thing won't stay on. But like, look at the serpent and be healed.
Uh,
Give me a break, bro. Like, are you serious?
All I got to do is look at it.
Man, that's too easy.
I got a question. How many people do you think didn't look at it?
Probably more than we care to admit. But
I mean, all you got to do is open your eyes and turn in that direction.
point of that is salvation is totally not earned.
Yeah.
And I know I know we go at this at nauseum. And if you follow the show, which all three of y'all, let me tell y'all,
We appreciate you.
we go at this because there's so much out there that that's not God did it. It's guy got to earn it. That's so much of that out there. Look at the serpent and be healed, man. Let me pull my sleeves up on this one. I mean, I got to do something.
I think that's probably why we focus on that a lot, because if you don't believe that it's just Jesus, if you ever put yourself in the you're going to help save yourself, you've got it wrong.
Well, then we can move on to the next. Well, not really the next because it's actually back in Genesis, but when we talk about Isaac.
We were talking about this earlier. This is
Well,
one of my favorites.
we're right at the Isaac situation in our Sunday morning, and we may be there Sunday morning. Isaac carried the wood. He did. He carried it all.
So God has told Abraham.
Go ahead.
I think sometimes we take for granted that people know the story. So God has told Abraham
So many people know the story.
to sacrifice his only son. Okay, I think that's key too. Well, technically, his only real son.
Well,
only promised son.
Okay, well, I mean,
Anyway,
the first one was his too.
Abraham was a flawed man.
We did not. And that's something else too. Like Abraham's like, man, he's the father of faith. Man, he's the guy. And then we have to say this. Like his wife goes, well, this ain't happening. But, Abraham was probably
in their 90s.
Yeah, and
God's promised a child. Ain't happened.
I'm not 90 yet, but I'm just saying. He's like, she goes, Abraham, hold on. Let me bend my bib a little bit, and let me.
It's funny. Come on,
here. Abraham, this ain't working. We've been trying for 25 years to have a kid. 25 years.
It ain't taken.
It ain't working. So what I think we should do, and by the way, you young husbands out there,
this is never a good idea.
Don't do it. If she says do it, I don't. Man, this is like when Eve's like, eat the fruit. Nah, bro, don't eat the fruit. And she's like, I got this maidservant, this dark tan chick over here, and maybe you should take her and have a kid. And that way we can help God out because God obviously forgot what he promised. And so they do. And the Bible says that Abraham went in to her. Which I know for all you religious folks, that may be a little too much. But it's what happened. And they have a son named Ishmael. And this is going to cause a problem.
Yeah.
And that's when the fight.
It was a good idea right up to the point Abraham said, okay.
It literally says, when she saw that she was with child, she despised her.
You think?
Well, who saw that coming? Not me. I didn't see it coming. I mean, when she saw that she was with child, she despised her. Like, man. So then we get Ishmael coming in the picture and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden, Sarah's upset because he's had sex with a woman that was not his wife. But it was going to work out because she said, do it.
She said it was okay.
It was okay. It's not okay, guys. Not okay. And so,
There's a lesson to be learned there.
oh, yeah. And if you ain't learned it by now, you're probably in trouble. Guys, listen to your wives, unless she says that.
Yeah.
So then we come along, we get Isaac and the true son of promise. Abraham and Sarah have Isaac together at 100 years old, 90 years old. 100. Listen, bro, I'm 43. If Brandy told me she was pregnant tomorrow, that'll probably find me. Y'all wouldn't find me. I mean,
Who's got the energy for all that?
I don't have the energy for that. More is enough.
Mm.
And, and Isaac said, hey, we're going to go up to Mount Moriah. All right. Yeah.
I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
Isaac asked
in the
a question.
vicinity of
Isaac asked a good question.
Jerusalem.
He said, hey, Dad. I mean, we're just talking in modern slang here.
Yeah.
But, hey, Dad. We got the wood. Don't see the sacrifice. And in Abraham, all of his dumb ideas, he's like, out of faith, he's like, God will provide.
God will provide the sacrifice.
Which I think we miss that. Like, I'm not saying that Abraham knew what was going to happen, but I really believed either he thought God was going to bring him back or it wasn't going to happen at all. One of the two. But
And
Abraham's like,
at the very worst, he believed that God would give him another son.
yeah, but probably didn't give Isaac a lot of. It's
Yeah.
like,
I think the farther they got up the mountain, the more it clued in. Because we're not talking about like an 8-year-old Isaac at this point.
he's probably 14.
He's probably
I can
a young
imagine
teenager.
Gunner, he's 14. Gunner be like, bruh, this is Cap. Not Cap. This is not Cap. I don't know a lot, but I know Cap's good. So this is not Cap. This is sus. It's sus.
It's very sus.
Very sus. And they get up there and, Isaac's like, hey, what's up, dude? Oh, just lay down.
On the altar? Like I'm gonna
I'm
bind
pretty
your
sure
hands.
that I did not read this part of the story. But the thing is everybody looks at Isaac as the sacrifice, but Isaac was never the sacrifice.
Ever the sacrifice.
The ram was always a sacrifice. Right as, and you can imagine Abraham knife up, which everybody today would be like, arrest him because he's nuts. And you get this whole story, and I can only imagine Abraham coming down with the knife, and God's like, no. Well, that's different. You just told me to kill him. And all of a sudden, there's a ram caught in the bushes. Man, so good. It's God. It's God, man. He's just.
So a couple of things just struck me. The sacrifice was to God. Okay. God didn't require of Abraham or Isaac to be the sacrifice for his own sacrifice to himself. He provided the sacrifice. He provided the offering.
Mm-hmm.
That just struck me. The sacrifice was to God, and He provided the blood to be sacrificed for Himself.
Yep.
He does the same thing with us.
Mm-hmm. We all think that we're the sacrifice. We're trudging up the mountain. It's us. We're going to lay on that altar. And God's like, no, I've already done that. God's not sweating it at all because, and don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying Isaac didn't or Abraham didn't have great faith because obviously he did.
Yeah. How many of us would have even
But
bothered
but
making the trip?
also, like, and I don't mean to point out Abraham's fault but I think it's noteworthy to point it out that, yeah, sure, God already knew, but Abraham didn't. And you said, well, Abraham's crazy. Well, I agree, because I don't know that I could have done what Abraham did. I'm not even going to put myself in that position. But it goes back to the point of, you know, God is providing all along. God provided before Abraham knew that there was a ram caught in the thistles. God is providing for you and me. He's provided for you and me already when we're thinking, well, surely we must do something. Surely. It can't be.
Nothing.
And I can't say surely without thinking about Naked Gun. I don't know why.
Surely you jest.
Surely you're joking. I am not. Don't call me Shirley. Yeah. But I don't know if our audience is familiar with Naked Gun. If you haven't, check
You
it
need to go
out.
watch it.
Yeah, you should. Leslie Nielsen, he's
The
hilarious.
older ones, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the old ones. Yeah, 33 and a third was good too. If you didn't know,
Oh, the new one with
OJ. No, that's not new. That's not new.
oh, no.
I'm thinking Naked Gun 33 and a third.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I've seen all the old ones. But
Yeah.
do you know how long ago that's been?
Probably at least
That was like
33
mid
years.
90s.
That's new to me. Just kidding. Lord,
You're not that much younger than
I know. I know.
I want to move on to
Yeah, let's do that.
I want to move on to Isaiah 53.
Mm.
If there's this is probably the chapter verse that first got me really interested in how the Old Testament points to Christ. I'm gonna read a portion of it. I'm gonna start at verse 3. And this is Isaiah. He's prophesying about Jesus. In verse 3, it says, "He is despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we did not esteem him. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God and afflicted. He was wounded for our transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement for our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He was led as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent. So he opened not his mouth. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who will declare his generation? He was cut off from the land and the living. For the transgressions of my people he was stricken. Now, normally, this is where we stop, okay? Because it's talking about Jesus bearing all of that for us. The prophecy part, the cool part to me, that just makes me think, how could anybody not realize that Jesus is exactly who he says he is? Isaiah's writing this 600 years before Jesus.
6.
In verse 9, and they made his grave with the wicked, but with the rich at his death, because he had done no violence, nor was there any deceit in his mouth. So it's talking about they made his grave with the wicked and a rich man. He was crucified between two thieves, and his grave was borrowed from Joseph of Arimathea, who was a rich man. That detail, you can't just like, and it gets better when we get to Psalm 22.
Well, hey, let's get there, because I think we spent way too much time on Exodus 12.
But I mean, how anybody cannot read this, and the Jews, they know this. The Pharisees at the time, they knew all of this.
Knowing something up here and knowing something in here is totally different.
How they couldn't see.
Well, how many of us we miss Jesus? We miss Jesus. We miss the purpose of the cross. We miss like like so many people who think they're really good are going to wake up in hell one day
Mm.
because they never like they're like, oh, Jesus, that's good, but now and there's so many people who struggled their whole life. They struggled with sin. They struggled with this. They struggled with that, and they're going to wake up in heaven. Really are. As my great granddaddy used to say, I've always been told, church people ain't always God's people.
And that is unfortunate.
It is because they should know more than most. So let's get to Psalm 22.
All right.
I want you to kick it off
I want
with
to read the whole
some.
thing.
Yes, well,
And
yes,
and
did it.
for anybody who's hearing this for the first time, you probably know Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. So as I'm reading this, I want you to understand that Psalm 22 is the reason
The
we
bomb
have
diggity in the 90s.
it's the reason we have Psalm 23.
Right.
It's the reason that we can live Psalm 23. My God, why have you forsaken me? Now this is, we assume, David writing this. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from helping me? And from the words of my groaning, oh my God, I cry in the daytime, but you do not hear, and in the night season, and am not silent. But you are holy, enthroned in the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in you. They trusted, and you delivered them. They cried to you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed. But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men and despised by the people. Now this is describing Jesus.
Uh,
And all those who see me ridicule me. They shoot out the lip. They shake the head, saying, he trusted in the Lord. Let him rescue him.
yeah.
If he's truly God, let him call on God. And, you know, that's exactly what the people were saying. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him. But you are he who took me out of the womb. You made me trust while on my mother's breasts. I cast upon you from birth, from my mother's womb. You have been my God. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, and there is none to help. Many bulls have surrounded me. Strong bulls of Bashan have encircled me. They gape at me with their mouths. Like a raging and roaring lion, I am poured out like water. All of my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It has melted within me. My strength is dried up like a potsherd. My tongue clings to my jaws. You have brought me to the dust of death, for dogs have surrounded me. The congregation of the wicked has enclosed me. They pierced,
Mm-hmm.
they pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They stare at me. They divide my garments among them. And for my clothing I cast lots. But you, O Lord, do not be far from me. O my strength, hasten to help me. Deliver me from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth and from the horns of the wild oxen. You have answered me. I will declare your name to my brethren. In the midst of the assembly, I will praise you. This is a perfect picture of Calvary.
Oh yeah. Well, it is. So it is.
Oh, hundreds of years before it
Oh
happened.
yeah. Yeah. You imagine what Jesus felt on that cross. I mean, and here we are complaining about a bad day.
Yeah.
It just
Puts it in perspective.
yeah, and we'll forget. But in Psalm 22, we get the picture of what Jesus felt. I mean, like, it's weird because David is probably, I mean, he is talking about what happens on the cross, but like, do
He's
you think he knew it? You think he knew what he was saying?
I don't know if he was lamenting his own problems
Probably.
or
But is it funny how God's like, hey, I'm gonna, is awesome is David is my favorite guy, by the way. I mean, most people know that if they know me very well. But he literally just paints it out there and like, hey man, like this and it and God's like, hey, I'm gonna show you what's up. Because um the pierced hands, the pierced feet, the garments divided. Like it,
this he wrote
it's
this before Roman crucifixion was ever even invented.
yeah, and hey, by the way, I'm a history guru, and I know this. And yes, you're correct. He did. Yeah, man, it's all right. Bro. Go ahead, bro.
I got the camera on you right now.
No, no, that's cool. Mark's tearing up. Hey, that's good stuff. It's good stuff. Man, Isaiah 53, Psalm 22, like just it ought to just it ought to just pierce our soul. You know. I mean, here's the thing. We're going into this week, and I first and foremost, I don't blame you or anybody else. Like I have literally had a rough week. Like, and when I say I've had a rough week, I mean things didn't go like I wanted to. And I said this on Facebook a few weeks or last week. Like, hey man, like things are hard. You know, life's hard. Things are not like you would want them to be. But at the end of the day, man, we look up on Calvary and we go, man, like dude, I'm blessed, like beyond measure. I have more than I need, and I have exactly what I need. You know what I mean? And we were just actually before we got on, we were talking about, I was complaining to Mark how I wish, I had extra money to take my wife somewhere, like to the beach or to the, I mean, and yet still we sit here and we talk about all these things and about Jesus and about what he done and I believe those things, but like we're still like in this broken fold where it's like, but I want what I want. Like, thank you, Jesus, I appreciate it, but I need to go to the beach this weekend or I need to go to the mountains. Like, I need a day away.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I told you, like I don't know if we said this on the podcast, but like earlier, but like I had some issues, which we always do, comes to farm stuff, and like all I could think about, I had to call out a mechanic, and all I could think about was like, man, how much is it going to cost me? How much? This is going to be expensive. It always is. And if you know anything about farming, it's always expensive. It's always expensive. And like, but I was right. My wife sent me a song, and the name of the song, it won't be long. And I've never heard it. Never heard of the guy that even sings it. I don't even know his name. But like part of the song was like remembering what your dad said about life may be a lot of things, but it won't be long. Yeah. It may be crazy, it may be this, it may be all these things, but it won't be long. And I mean, I see her tonight at 43, and I feel like yesterday I was 17. You know. And it's funny because like my dad said those things, and I was just like, yeah, I bet it did feel like yesterday. What, 40 years ago? But then when it happens, and these are things that we can't understand until we experience. Like, man, I cannot believe how fast. I mean, I can remember me and Brandy were young. We weren't even married. We were engaged. We're going down to Panama City to see Eric Church, and like life is going to be, it's going to last forever, man. Like we're young. And dude, I mean, now I'm like 43, and I'm sitting there going like, like, I, I mean, there's a really, really, really good chance, Mark, that 50 something percent of my life's over. There's a really good chance. Like, I mean, I may live, and I mean, God forbid I live to 90 because I can't remember
What you gonna
nothing.
do at night?
Yeah, what am I gonna do? And you know, and I think about that though. I think about like, so a lot of my life is over. Like a lot of my life is past. Like, and we want to do things. I think as Christians we want to do things for God, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But I just want to say to you, like, God don't need you to do those things. It's not that God doesn't. It's not that it doesn't excite God that like the very reason we do this podcast. The reason we do this podcast is not, yeah, our flesh hopes that we'll get a lot of views. Our flesh hopes that it'll be a success. But the real reason we do it is because we want people to understand something that I feel like was taken from us. Like, and what
Yeah,
I mean by that,
yeah.
go ahead,
No,
go ahead,
you're
no,
right.
no, go ahead.
You're
I
on
would
track.
love you to.
It's an honest
You to
conversation.
just like jam on the drums on this.
How many times have we sat in church and we listened to Jesus Plus?
Oh,
It's
that's all it is,
Jesus,
man.
and he
You know,
paid.
my phone just
He
lit up. My phone just lit up. It says, "I can do all things through Him who gives me strength." And I know that's a verse where we like to use it for anything.
Yeah.
But so 2 nights ago, I'm sitting there at 3:30 in the morning, going 3:30 in the morning. Some of our '90s people don't know what that is. Thunder rolls. 3:30 in the morning.
And that was on one side.
And I was in there, and I'm like, God, what? Like, I feel like such an outcast. Like, I feel like God should be done with me. Like, I didn't love like I should have today.
Yeah.
You know,
And
I had opportunities that I wasted.
how
Today.
much joy and peace has and yeah, I think it's fair to say taken. And I don't think it was done intentionally by the
No, no, I don't.
by the people who were bringing those messages. But if you were ever
They did what they were taught.
taught or you were ever under the impression that there was something in addition to Jesus that you had to do to be saved, you can take that and you can throw it completely out the window. Because if there's nothing that you can do on your own to be saved, there's nothing
No,
that you can do
you
on your
taking
own to
something?
keep being saved.
I may not have said that. You taking it?
Mm.
Yeah. So if there's nothing I can do, which every Christian will agree with this,
Yeah.
most every Christian will agree, there's nothing I can do to be saved but believe in what Jesus did. So if there's nothing, and I want to say this, and I don't know that I do a good job of looking. Which camera am I supposed to? This one?
We're on the middle one right
All right.
now.
So let me say this to you, because I know this pain and this I know it.
Look at this one now.
All right. I know this pain. Like you're sitting there, you're listening to this. You're like, I don't know. I mean, I've been to church. I made a confession. I did this. I did that. So take all that and wad it up and pack it really tight and throw it out the back window. The reality is like I did nothing. You did nothing to get saved.
Fact.
So if I can do nothing to be saved, what can I do to lose it?
No,
People finna get mad now.
Oh, they are.
Listen, we'll see. Religious people don't watch our podcast. I just go ahead and tell you, the people I know that would say something, they ain't watch it. They were like, that Tyler, he's a man, dude. I'm telling you, when that comes on you, and you're just like, man, I get it. I get, and here's the thing: you might get it tonight. You might get it. You might go to sleep tonight, and you might wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, and all that religion comes back on you and goes, "What a piece of crap." You really you think you're going to be saved because you're going to be saved, dude? I know for a fact that you're laying up next to somebody that you ain't married to. Oh, I know for a fact that you're. Did I say on Sunday that I would have hit a brick of cocaine? I did say that.
I wasn't here.
Oh, I did. I said it. And let me explain what I said.
Did you?
So let me explain what I said. So I said everybody wants the gospel peel. Like you want God to show up and show out, as our wonderful Pentecostal brethren love to say. God show up, show out. So you want God to enter into your life immediately and go, and cookie cutter Christianity, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. Like it's like the sink just blew up and there's water hitting the ceiling, and you're just like, God's. If somebody will cut this water off. So I don't know how many but I had a little bit of back trouble.
Yeah, you did.
Not a little bit, a lot of back trouble. Like, and this was, hey, I'll tell you, Mark, this was one of the most humbling, because I really thought about that second day I called you when I was down, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up. I'm 40. I was 42 at the time. I just turned 43 Sunday, but I was 42 at the time. I could not move around my house without the assistance of my wife or a walker. Or a cane. Excuse me. I had borrowed my aunt's cane. And until you've been in a place where you can't get up and go, I don't think you understand. Okay. And so I've been very fortunate over my life that hasn't happened. Now, I've never been in the hospital. I think I had a surgery when I was like 2. Like, I don't even remember that. The only reason I know it's because my parents told me about it. But anyway, I was laying there and I went to the chiropractor and he's like, bro, your back, it's hurt. You're hurt.
Yeah, I know.
You're messed up, bro. And that's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to go and I wanted to, because everybody's like, go to the chiropractor, they'll fix you up. Okay. So I go. And Dr. Cobb's great. Like, he's the man. Very God-fearing man, too, by the way. And we have some great conversations while he's, I've never, and I do not struggle with homosexuality and all, but when he popped my back last week, I almost kissed him. But when you get to a point where you can't do anything, you're there. And I thought a lot about what Jesus told Peter. He's like, when you're young, you go and you do whatever you want to do. When you're old,
somebody else.
Now, don't get me wrong. I know this is a lot deeper than what I'm about to tell you, but you're in that position where it's like you can only do what somebody else allows you to do.
That's right.
Man, dude, that's humbling. I went home. I think I called you. I think Mark thought I probably was and I told him, I said, dude, I've never been this. I just went home and cried. I'm not gonna lie. I just went home and I cried. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Obviously, I'm probably making more out of it what it is. Obviously, my back is in better shape now, thanks to him and thanks to the good Lord. But I just wanted him. I thought I'd go to the chiropractor and he'd do his little magic trick and it'd all be better.
Yeah.
8 trips.
Wow.
8. This Wednesday was my 8th visit, and dude, I'm so much better. I can't even. It don't even hurt anymore. But everybody wants the gospel feel, and so going back to the whole line about the. So after the second time I went, I had back spasms. I never experienced that in my life. Never. I thought of muscle spasms when you ever a muscle twitch. It's a twitch, by the way, just in case you wondered.
Just a little small.
I thought it was it's spasming because it's your shoulder be working around. Yeah, that's a twitch. What a spasm is the devil himself reaching his hand into your body, and he's grabbing whatever muscle it is, and he is raking his razor sharp nails across it, and he's like, go ahead and think you better, because I'm gonna mess you up, man. And it was he was taking this old back strap back here, and he was just squeezing it. Well, I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I look like Ace Ventura. I'm like a dolphin. I'm spasming around. My wife wakes up. She's like, "Oh my God, what?" I'm like, I don't know. I can't get comfortable. I can't get any way. I get one way. It wouldn't work. I'd get one way 5 seconds, not 5 minutes. Nothing lasted more than 30 seconds, and it would ease off. And it was if you could imagine having the worst body cramp you ever had in your life on steroids, and it would just grab and it would twitch so bad, and I would just bite into I bit into our pillow. I cut I literally bit into the casing of the pillow. And I said a lot of things I probably should have said. My wife literally goes, "What can I do?" And I said, "Go to my safe and grab my." But I said during church, I said, because I wanted it fixed, if you would lay out a brick of cocaine, I'd snort the whole thing to fix this because I was in such pain.
Yeah.
And the whole point of all of that rambling I just did was we always want God just to fix it. So what I had to do was I had to take. I'm not a big medicine person. I don't like medicine. I don't like taking ibuprofen. Okay, and my wife will tell you that she has to force me to take it. Which I wish that I had taken her advice earlier. Maybe I would have been in the position I was in. But like, so finally, I was like, she's like, "Do you want a muscle relaxer?" I was like, "If you have a brick of cocaine, I will literally snort the whole thing. Whatever, bring me something because it was the worst pain I've ever experienced." And I think about what Jesus went through on the cross, and I think about the pain. And so I took the muscle relaxer. She's like, "It should work in 30 minutes." Well, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes just went by, and I didn't know it at the time. But I mean, dude, it was the longest hour and a half, 20 minutes that I'd ever experienced. But it was also like I couldn't believe that amount of time it went by. And she looked back at the bottle and she was like, "No, this one says it'd take an hour and a half to work. Give me another one." You know, I'm like, "Give me another one." And man, dude, when it finally started working though, and I was able to go back to sleep. Bless her, God bless her soul. Um, I just like it was horrible, man. But like all that to say, and I think that God gives me real world like real problems like to elaborate on like spiritual truth, but like we just want God to fix it.
Yeah.
And now if I have that happen again, I'd never desire that ever again. Like never. But I know that my wife was doing all she could do to help me. She was rubbing my back. She was being the partner. My wife figured out during those 2 weeks of what the worst was. You know, better for better or
Or
worse.
better or worse.
For the worst is, and some of you've already been through worse than that. I get that, but you know, when we talk about like she was doing all she could do, but I felt so alone. And there's so many people who think that they're going to get out of this life alive, or they're going to just go in the grave and they're going to wake up one day and they're going to be in the midst of hell and they're going to be unimaginable pain and loneliness. I think people miss that about hell. I think I shared that Sunday. I know you weren't here.
Yeah.
Somebody was vacationing. But the loneliness in hell, I think you're going to be agonizing for some relief and there's going to be nobody there. And even though my wife wanted to help me in that moment, there was nothing she could do. Like it was just, it was there. It was hurting. It was what it was. It is what it is. Like, that's why I'm like, just knock me out. Just kill me. I mean, do something like, you know, and I think that's really relevant to what we're talking about tonight because like so many of you are like trying to fix yourself. You're trying to get this, you're trying to get that. And then all you really need to do is rest in the arms of the one who already done it.
Yep. There's relief there.
So
Just
I know I went
have
a long way around
have
to
to
tell the story,
accept
but
it.
I thought it was funny. It was funny in a way. It's not. It's funny now. It was not funny then by any means. So yeah,
I like
I
the
don't wish that on
analogy.
my worst enemy. I can promise you.
We're 80s kids, so a brick of cocaine.
Yeah. So when I said that, like the
Only
good thing
some of us
about
got it.
this congregation was there was like, well, it's Tyler. So everybody just laughed and got on with it. I didn't get any nasty grams
Some of the
or
kids are like, "Mom and Daddy, what's
it's a brick of
cocaine?"
cocaine. Well, it's something you need when your back hurts. I don't know.
Not really. Not really.
Yeah. So, man, I'm telling you, man, this has been a great night to talk about, what Jesus did for us,
Yep.
and it kind of brings the New Testament, Old Testament together. Even me talking about what Peter was talking about. Hey, when you're younger, like, man, you may sit here and you may listen. You may not listen to any of it. You may listen to the whole thing, but you may think, hey, I'm young. Even if you're our age, because the cool thing about older people is they still think we're young.
Yeah.
I mean, I could die tomorrow, but they're like, "Oh, you're a young man." Well, that I appreciate it.
But the corollary to that is like folks in their 60s, that is no longer old.
No, no, it's
Not
not.
at all.
But you may sit here tonight and you're whenever you listen to this podcast, you may say, "Man, those guys are old. I'm young. Like I'm gonna be young forever." And I get that. Like I totally what you're thinking. I resonate with that 100%. Mark resonates with it, even though Mark is a lot older than me.
A lot.
Um, But I told my oldest son tonight or this afternoon before I came up here, we were talking about something, and I know what it was. He's like, "Man, you got a lot of like." I rained there. It had rained, or we were trying to get some equipment moved around, and it rained. My shirt was soaked, so I took my shirt off and I grabbed a towel out of the truck, and I was talking about, man, I got a lot of hair on my chest and all this stuff, and I've never been a hairy guy like that. And he's like, I hope I never have it. I said, well, when I was your age, I never even thought about it. And I said, but you'll be surprised, son, how fast 20 years goes. And I don't say that. I told him, I said, I don't say that to you, but like to make you feel like, but you really just don't realize how fast 20 years goes.
I was thinking about that just earlier today, and it made me think about what James says in James 4:14, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away.
It
And
sure
the
does.
older you get, the more you realize exactly how true that is.
So I guess to close out, I'm big on like these old timer sayings.
Mm.
So, I've already shared this with you. So so when we talk about Jesus, everybody talks a good game. All these religions say, come to us, do this, do that. So I heard a saying the other day that I'd never heard before, and I like it so much I want to use it tonight. And Jerry Ward, good farming buddy of mine, married to my cousin, he said, we were talking about something, and he just said, yeah, one showing's worth more than all the telling. And I said, what'd you say? And then I said, I'd never heard it. I mean, it struck me so much that I called him back the next day because I wanted to write it down.
Say it again.
Well, I'm fitting to. Hold on. I'm fitting to. Fitting to.
Fitting to.
That's South Alabama. Everybody tells you, hey, this will get you there, this will get you there, but Jesus did what needed to be done. And to quote my good friend and good buddy, Jerry, which he got this from another older guy, but he said, one showing is better than all the telling. And Jesus made the one showing that was better than all the telling in the world.
Amen.
So, man, hey, what you gonna do? What you gonna believe? You gonna trust you to get to heaven? You can talk all the good game in the world, but we all know this is what I do know, Mark. I do know we're all full of it because none of us are perfect. Jesus said, "Ain't nobody good but God."
That's right.
And if you're gonna get good, you got to get God. And it ain't because God gets you and you get good. God makes you good because He's good.
And there's a lot of peace and comfort in knowing that you don't have to depend on yourself.
Yeah,
Once
it
you
is the
find a way to
release. Yep.
accept that, you can put it all on Jesus. And I think none of us get that instantly.
Yep.
It's a lesson that is taught over a long amount of time.
So the good news is we're getting ready to get out of here. But so Sunday morning, Buck Creek, 6 o'clock, sunrise service right there on the front porch, and then we'll have breakfast afterwards. And at 10:30, we'll have our regular service, and looking forward to it, man. I'm interested to see where God takes me because, you know, after 12, 13, 14 years preaching Easter sermons, I always like to do something kind of out of the box. So we've been going through Genesis. What? Well, now I was not in Genesis last week. Of course, you weren't here, but I was not in Genesis last week. We talked about the triumphal entry, but I'm interested to see if God will allow me to preach an Easter sermon on Isaac, because that's where we're at in Genesis. I'm not saying that's where we'll be, so don't hold me to it. I'm just interested to see if God will let me go that way and what He will show me, other than what we've already talked about.
Well, we'll all have to show up to find out.
You have to show up to find out. So anyway, if you got any questions, got any comments, got something you want us to talk about on the podcast, hit us up at our Facebook page, An Honest Conversation. You'll see our two ugly mugs. Send us a message. You can hit us up at honestconversation25 at Gmail. Comment, man, comment. Like we say all the time, man. If we don't like it, we just ignore it.
At this point, I won't even delete those.
Nah, we'll
Well,
get back with you.
yeah,
We'll get back with you for
have some
sure.
interesting conversations.
So,
Thank you for
anything
watching.
else I'm forgetting?
I think that's it.
Like, share, follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.